If you look on the screen now, you can see this is the settings that I've ended up at on the Microtube's B7K Ultra. We've ended up rolling quite a bit of the treble and high mids and low mids out, just so it sounds a little bit more sort of rounded. With it just being kick and snare, we want to make sure that that complements the actual kick and snare. The drive is pretty high up, just seems to be working basically. So what I'm going to do is unmute the drums in Pro Tools. As I press play, I'm going to unmute the Darkglass and see if you can hear a difference. And then while we're playing, I'll also mute the drums in Pro Tools and just have the Darkglass return isolated so you can hear that. And I'm going to be flipping it on and off at your end just so you can hear the difference in context. So let's start with it off and then we'll flip it on and off and then we'll isolate it. So there you have it. You could hear what that's doing within the context of the drums. It's adding a lot more sort of sustain and a lot more length to the notes of the kick and snare. And then when you listen to it on its own, you can actually see what it's doing in context of the drums, but in isolation. And as you could hear, I was turning the drive up and down on the pedal just to find a nice spot that was working. Then we can literally print that audio track into Pro Tools. If we were to put the B7K into record mode, unmute at both of our ends so we can hear what's going on. If I was to press record now, which we'll try, you'll see that on the B7K channel that we've got coming in here, we're going to be recording the return of that pedal. And I'll give you a quick example of that so you can see. Here we go. So there we go, we now have the B7K in. I'm going to go through and record all of them in properly in a moment because I want to just go over the Sansamp sound as well. But if I was to press solo on this B7K, this is the return of it captured. So now we have that to blend in with the rest of the kit. But before we do that, I'm going to go over the other pedal, which is the Sansamp bass driver. Now this pedal is particularly made for the bass guitar, but again, there's no rules, and making music, we can try things out. Between these two pedals, I ended up with a really, really nice distorted kick and snare sound. So I'm going to give you an example of how this sounds. So pretty similar sound. They're both doing different things. Again, if you reference the bass guitar tracking in the music production masterclass video, the Sansamp is quite a nice round kind of distortion unit, and the Microtube's B7K Ultra is more of a bright, really nice top end kind of distortion and saturation. So with the combination of these two, we end up with a really, really nice sound. We're going to unmute both of them, Darkglass and Sansamp, and we're now going to record these into Pro Tools. As you can see, B7K there and Sansamp there, we're going to put them two into record. So we'll just focus on this last section of the drums here, the end chorus. We'll record this in and we'll find a balance once they are recorded in and give you an idea of how we can blend it in with the drums just to give more sustain. So here we go.